cut. I'm ready for my close up, Mr. Demure.
Hello, everybody. I'm Dalton with Resolutions Healthcare. Welcome to another video in our Client's Journey series where we highlight clients coming through our treatment program so they can not just tell you about the help that they received here, but so their story can help somebody else along the way. Remember, hit like, share, subscribe on whatever platform you're viewing this on. It really helps us to get these videos out there to more people. And with that, let me introduce Bear.
Hold on. How much does a polar bear weigh?
How much?
Enough to break the ice. How you doing? I'm Quinn Rice, and I go by Bear with the gray hair. Uh, I'm here with Mr. Dalton, and I'm excited about this opportunity. So, to tell you a little bit about me, I'm from Dallas, Texas, born and raised in the South Oak Cliff area. I am a Golden Bear, also. I'm an alma mater, and I did graduate from Baylor, so that's 2 times the bear. So it's 2 times the fun. Um, my journey to make it to Hypnosis has been amazing. I was getting all the signs before to, slow down into my active addiction, and I ignored all the signs. And this is my first time actually surrendering and volunteering to come to a rehab. And I made a great decision, and I've been listening to the ear in my voice, which has been God Himself, and allowing the angels that He sent to me to help me out.
Tell me a little more about the addiction.
I never experienced the binging, but I am an extremist. So if I like to do something, I'm gonna do it to the fullest.
Yep.
If it's eating, uh, going somewhere that I like, to where I'm just chilling, like having a good time, and that's what happened with my addiction. I enjoyed getting messed up when I did get messed up. I always tended to work. I always took pride in being uh, um, a winner, but my full potential was always stagnated by my addiction. I never gave my full potential. I also had it cut out my relationship with God as on an intimate level. I just believed in God at one point and didn't follow and give him my free time or give him his time. And it was more like it was a lot of I won instead of giving him the glory. So I mean, backline of my story, like I said, I grew up in the rough part of town.
Yeah.
So I was a product of my environment. My father was a dog fighter,
Mm.
and so his associates were hoodlums,
Right.
rough around the edges, shortcut takers, pimps, players, max, drug dealers, um, killers. Um, so I had a different influence, and I always thought I was smart. Like in school, high school, I was president of student council. So I figured when I had hard times, hey, me going to the streets, it wouldn't be much for me because I'm smart. But but I got caught just like everybody else that think they are above the law or think that they are in control of the flesh.
Yeah.
And I fed into it, and so that's when I started my journey. Being on probation, they started sending me to rehabs. Now, because I'd rather take the rehab than the 15 years. But I finished it successfully to my probation on my first case, which was a half a key of cocaine. My daughter was born, and that's when it just got real crazy for me because I never had an opportunity to be a father. I was automatically put in position to be a baby daddy.
Uh,
So I did what I've always seen my father do, indulge in drugs. Where as far as started out with marijuana, my dad never did nothing heavier than marijuana. but his addiction was so bad you would think he was on heroin. Um, and he just medicated himself, and I did the same. And I graduated into PCP, for those probably know the street name, WEC, Juice, Angel Dust. And I started drinking heavy liquor. I always had expensive taste, so I didn't indulge in the.
You wasn't just drinking no beer.
Nah, I was drinking some nice wine. You know, I thought it was a fad. It was more of a. I thought it was, symbolizing. Instead of drinking the cheap whiskey and buying me Hennessy. Uh, so I did the things that that was acquired to live at that lifestyle. And my mama said best. She said that you gambled hard. Like I didn't. She had told me one day. She was like, "Man, I hope you don't get caught up. I heard you messing around. So don't get caught up out there." And I told her, "Don't worry about me getting caught with no nickel rock. The catch was gonna be something big." And it wasn't even 2 weeks later.
That catch was
They
big.
caught me with a half kilo of cocaine.
Yeah.
So
It sounds like your whole life, pretty much, it's been whatever you're gonna do, you're gonna do it 100%.
oh yes, even if it was going to work or like school, and if I wanted to be a failure, I was gonna be number one failure. I wasn't gonna have ass it.
So what is the one thing? I know you've heard it from several of us in here about the amount of energy that we put into our past lifestyle. We take a fraction of that energy, a fraction of that try, and we put it towards being sober. It's a drop in a bucket.
Well, it is. Let's just go with the excuse me. It goes with the biblical saying with the faith of a mustard seed.
Right, right.
And but I do also understand because I have had some clean time before. Uh, I just as much energy that I put in my recovery. I mean, in my addiction, I put 10 times that in my recovery at the time. So I'm familiar with being clean, and no matter what I was going through, once I relapsed from that 4 year clean time of having a sponsor, working the steps, and attending a bunch of meetings. Uh, I even admit, even in my addiction, that my best me was sober. I know that. I mean, I even got a story where one time I had to give my paper signed for my sponsor, and it was ice outside,
Yeah.
and I wasn't gonna do it. Now I thought this is one of them times they talking about.
Uh-huh.
If you want to go get high, I'll go in that ice.
Right.
So I did it. I traveled all the way across Dallas, Texas. I had to walk. I'm probably a mile and a half to because the buses wasn't running. The trains was the only thing running, and I walked all the way to his house. And got my paper signed and went over a few steps.
How'd that make you feel?
That made me at that time.
Yeah.
It made me understand that I'm worth it,
Right.
and it never left. Even when I decided to leave and go back to using, and that spark of significance never left me.
Gotcha. Gotcha. So coming up to this last time before you reached out to us, or when you did reach out to us, how did you know it was time to say, "Hey, I need to go back on using your own will and volition"? How did you know it was time you needed to reach out and do it for
Well,
yourself?
well, the funny thing is that I was getting signs and I was ignoring. And where they was coming from was a peaceful place. One of my best friends, we were just talking about, just being under influence in our older age, at being at our age, how we really need to be moving with a clear mind. He was like, "Man, you thought about going to rehab?"
Mm.
I'm like, it's settled in my head and it pondered in my head. So even after I continue to indulge and drink, um, that would pop up in my head when I'm under the influence. And rehab. I'm like, man, I can't stop what I'm doing right now to rehab. I need a better job. Like, I tried to ignore it. Then I went and got a haircut. My barber was like, he moved his location.
Yeah.
And I was like, you done moved out the hood, you know, really? He was around a bunch of older guys. He like, the other barbers that he was had in the hood, there was a bunch of youngsters and just adolescents. But when I went, it was some older guys and it was a quieter part of town and prestigious part of town. He was like, I was like, I go to the health, there's a health store next door. I say, you got the health store I come to next door to you? He was like, and it's an NA meeting next door to that. And he like, I go in there, man, just soak up some game and just escape life and partake into in a meeting. You ought to come with me sometimes. Boom. Sign two.
Right.
And I just like he basically said, come with me. Hey. And I
Did
left,
you go?
did not go.
Didn't go.
Got my
Blew it
haircut.
on.
Once again, ignored the signs. Definitely had a spiritual malady.
Right.
Never had a spiritual block. And I wasn't being rigorously honest with myself. And I was basically just staying sick. Then started happening where I'm buying drugs and not even getting me under the influence anymore.
Yeah.
So then it's like, well, I'm like, well, quick.
What am I doing? Yeah.
And I, told them to amp it up a little bit. I need some strong stuff.
Uh-huh.
Wrecked my car.
Yeah.
Came out without a scratch. It totaled the car. I mean, not even, but I did have a heart attack, but I came out with a belt buckle scratch on my rear end and slightly on my shoulder. And I just knew when I was sitting in that hospital room, that was it. That was it. Like, I got spectators to say if it wasn't messed up your car, you'd still be using it. It may be true, but tragedy also comes with a blessing on the other end if you pay attention. So,
Right. That's kind of like my story. A lot of people ask me, when did you know it was time to clean up your act, Dalton, stop running and gunning, or what was your biggest blessing in life, Dalton? And I'll say getting in that car wreck on the night before my sister's wedding. And they'll look at me and say, what? Say, yeah, my biggest blessing, because if I hadn't have been in that car wreck, broke my neck, my leg, dislocated my hip, brain injury, TBI, if I wouldn't have gone through that, I don't know if I'd be here today or if I'd still be out running and gunning and doing my own thing. But God lets us go through those things sometimes to
exactly.
get our attention. There's signs saying, "Hey, wake up! You're messing your life all up. Wake up and get on the right side of this thing."
Right. And I felt like I, I was so humbled that it didn't happen that way. Uh, I was so humbled because going through the ER, you seeing people that's being pushed to ICU and they like, man, we're gonna do this MRI, CAT scan on you, X-rays, not a scratch, not nothing. So who else but to say they kept me? Airbags didn't bust out, so I had to be in the hands of God.
Blessing.
It had to be, and they say it's three. You're either in a storm, you're either going into a storm, you're in a storm, or you're coming out of a storm.
Yeah.
So I knew at that time I was in a storm, and I knew it was too much for me to bear. And I just asked for His help. I prayed. I sat on the side of my hospital bed, and I prayed till I fell asleep. When I woke up, the nurse was waking me up out of a prayer position, and I just went ahead and called for help. I know a few people still involved with recovery. They in bigger spots where they can do network and find you. And that's how I found Hidden Oaks. It's the greatest thing that could have ever happened to me in this time of my life.
After you got to Hidden Oaks, what have you learned here that you think is really gonna, just help you stay on this path and really just kickstart you into the future?
Well, because I've been through this process before, me knowing what I was going to have to do, uh, like I said earlier, I'm extremist,
Yeah.
and I didn't take this program. I didn't play with it at all. I made sure. So every entity of the program, the faith side, um, Miss Uncle Vinny's part where he does the trauma class, Laura's day-to-day groups with the three gratefuls and with the three gratitudes and positive affirmation. Um, the Pure Leg group, where the peers are running the group, was amazing. And
Tell me about that.
Pure Leg group is where all just the clients alone, and we run the groups. We have sessions, and sometimes we use NAAA format. Sometimes we watch a motivation video and we speak on it, or it just might be some literature that one of the peers want to share, and we speak on it. But the beauty of that is watching the growth of all the clients from when they first get here, when we all get here, we got the detox and look cloudy. I know I don't believe in depression at all, but I know that my drug use and the event that occurred with me wrecking my car and feeling like I got set back, not knowing it was preparing me for a come up. Um, and I just seen how we share and how we really get in debt and really, we really squeeze the lemon
Yeah.
and make lemonade.
So Vinny's Trauma, Laura's groups. Laura's our clinical director, our main therapist right now. Her groups.
Right.
Peer led. What else?
My the journal, my personal journal is something. It's something only God answer prayers because I used to when I was in my addiction, I used to always say to myself, "Hey, you ain't been reading much, you ain't been writing much." So me writing again, just getting out my thoughts on my end of the day, processing. And my health. Um, Having to go to the nurse station, working on my blood pressure, my sugar, diabetes. It's just amazing. Every aspect of the the outdoors, going with you outdoors. Not to say I want to go to Amazon River. I got a camping trip at the time. So, but you just we wash away things that we did when we were young, like Boy Scout and stuff. It just kind of just brought back more of a peaceful side of my youth. Being outdoors, which my daddy was a big outdoorsman. We used to practice bow and arrow to hunt hogs.
Yeah.
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 So just that just brought him back, and with me losing him in the last couple of years, just like he was around. So
All right. The last thing we do here on these client journey videos is offer a bit of advice. So I want you to offer a bit of advice to somebody out there struggling, still in their addiction, struggling to make that phone call. What do you got to say to that person,
I
Barry?
got to tell you, is don't settle. The life that you're living right now in chaos, and that ain't the life that God gave you. That's a life that you're creating. And I just believe we settle when we do that. We just take what's coming to us, and we're worth more than that. So you give yourself a break, you give yourself a chance, and choose to better yourself. Be willing to go through the process. It's called pain, but it's growing pains. You know, you got if you're still breathing and you're able to function under the influence, just imagine what you can do while you're not under the influence. Um, we were designed to do great things. We were born, we beat out, I don't know if I can say this, but we beat out a million other sperms to
Yeah.
get on this earth.
There you go.
So you was a born winner.
Yeah.
So if you beat a million, hey,
You
you're
good.
designed
You're
to get
good.
out here and do something better.
Right.
Because if that was the case, you could have went in the sink. We probably gonna have to edit that out.
No, we leaving
Okay,
that. We leaving that.
but just think, you want to be a sink baby or a real, a champion. And I'm glad that I won.
Yeah. You that 1 out of a million,
I'm that
baby.
1 out of a million. So I'm designed to win, and you are too. And look in the mirror and see yourself. Because I remember when I was in my addiction, because we used to be riding, I looking in the mirror on the passenger side. She's like, what you looking at? I'm like, oh, I don't like what I'm looking. She said, stop what you're doing. You don't like how you looking. Then stop what you're doing. You don't like how you feeling. Stop what you're doing. Give yourself a break and try something else. And ain't nothing wrong with working on your health, working on your mental, working on your spiritual. Um, it all comes together. It's like gumbo. It just tastes good when you fix it right.
There you go. There you go. All right, everybody. Thank you, Bear, for coming out. Thank you for being on the podcast this week. And man, go out there and kill it. Go out there and stay on top and do the things that you're talking about. Y'all look him up. I'm gonna help him. He's gonna have a book coming out sometime.
I want to tell him one story. It's called about a do funny bird.
Oh,
A do funny bird is supposed to fly south in the winter, but they do funny shit. So they fly north, and they wings froze. So one bird's wings froze and it fell in a pasture. Here come along Mr. Cow. Mr. Cow comes right up along on top of Mr. Do Funny and takes a poop, unthawed his wings. So he's flapping in the poop. And here comes along Mr. Cat. Mr. Cat comes, grab Mr. Do Funny, takes him to the barn, cleans him up, feeds him, grooms him up real good, and bites his head off. The moral of the story is everybody that's taking a poop on you ain't trying to hurt you. And everybody that butter you up and tell you you're doing great and looking good ain't got your best interest at heart. So if you're out there drugging and having a good time with some of your friends, they might be Mr. Cat.
right.
And those people that keep telling you that you can do better for yourself and they not agreeing with your lifestyle, that's Mr. Cow. So don't look at that poop as a bad thing.
There you go. Can't give you no better advice than that. Remember, hit that like, share, subscribe button.
Do it twice.
Do it twice. And we'll see you on the next one. All right. Peace out.
Peace out.